And still on politics, I'm joined now by Thomas Ojanga. Yes, I've got that right, yes?
Yes.
Who is a strategist, also a strategist.
Absolutely.
But the right name to use is...
Social Transformation Engineer, International Social Transformation Engineer.
Indeed. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
First things first, Wiper Party, ANC, Ford Kenya have vowed to present a common front in the upcoming by-elections in Matungu, there's Kabuchai, and of course we have the senator seat in Machakos. What do you make of that?
I think that they're coming together is a very good thing because, as we know, perpetual divisiveness in politics has cost us a lot in terms of economic transformation, economic growth and all that. Them coming together is a good thing for Matungu and for Machakos in the other election. The party chairman of KANU, Senator Gideon Moi, also announced 2 days ago that in 2021, several parties are going to come together to have a common front going forward. This is very good for the stability of the nation.
And of course, talking of KANU, you are a member and you're also an official, right?
I'm the regional coordinator for KANU in Nyanza.
Okay.
Yes.
Away from Nyanza, because of interest of time in both Nyanza and Western Kenya, Nairobi, of course, the governor was impeached last week. Yesterday, the day before yesterday, yes, the Speaker of the County Assembly was Benson Mutura, was sworn in as acting governor, and he pledged the first thing, actually the same day, he actually signed off some money to the NMS. What do you make of that?
You know, Chapter 11 of the Constitution actually spells out the process of removal of the governor, right? And the institutions that are mandated to oversight the executive, the county governments, have made a conclusion that there are sufficient reasons for the impeachment of the governor. And the impeachment took place. The IBC has gazetted a notice for the by-election on the 18th of February. So this matter of the governor and the government of Nairobi is basically complete. However, we must understand one thing. Devolution is a statutory delegation of powers from the central government to the sub-national government. So in that context, the powers of the county governments are borrowed from the central government, right? So I think in understanding that, it's important to appreciate that the taking on of the precedent concerning NMS by Governor Sonko was inappropriate because in this relationship, actually, the line manager is the president. Okay? So I think there will be an election, and the election will give us the new government of Nairobi. But the 2010 Constitution is not the first Constitution that gave us a devolved system. There was one in 1963 that created 7 regions, right? And Nairobi was not part of them. The reason being that the idea and pursuit of devolution is to address historical injustices and marginalization created by colonial policies that actually designated certain areas as high potential or not. Nairobi and the port city of Mombasa do not belong to marginalized regions and should not have been designated as counties in the first place. So I think that certain powers were removed from Sonko and given to NMS was quite in order. Actually, I was very wise from the president. From where I stand, I think it should have gone much further and probably dissolved Nairobi and given it to NMS.
Indeed, and still on the same, you've talked about, of course, after 1962, we had the Majimbos and the BBI. Some people are talking about the BBI, talking about taking back Nairobi City county in the hands of the national government. What do you make of that? What about politics? What about the rights of the Nairobi citizens?
No, devolution in Kenya was created 2 times, 1963 and 2010, to address the question of historical injustices. These historical injustices are a result of marginalization, first by the colonial governments that designated certain areas as high potential, certain areas not. This was particularly decided that way to use areas that had the potential to grow products for export to the UK.
Yes.
Now that we are independent, we are a republic, we must treat all regions as equal and address those areas that were marginalized. Nairobi, at the port city of Mombasa, was never one of them. So the creation of the county of Nairobi and the port city of Mombasa as a county was in itself a mistake. So I think going forward, this must be looked at, because if you see all the laws and all the funds that have been created to support the devolution, devolve funds and all that, actually are supposed to address the matter of marginalization. Nairobi was never marginalized. Yes.
And some people have argued that the impeachments, this year we've seen now 2 governors of Nairobi and Kiambu. I can say Nairobi and Kiambu gives perhaps 30 or 40% of the nation's GDP. And now 2 governors are out via impeachment. Is this a threat to devolution? Because some county assemblies might decide, we do not want Ojanga as our governor, now we have to get him out.
I don't think that that's entirely true. Number one, I think the revenue in Kenya, if you look at it, is substantially coming from Nairobi and Mombasa, most of it. And well, people, economists would argue how to calculate the GDP and all that. But I think the county assemblies are mandated to oversight the executive. How they decide that the executive has violated the provisions of Chapter 11, that is a decision that they make as that's in their jurisdiction. They make as a collective. So I think sometimes it is just wrong to assume that everything that is done for political reasons or expediency. Yes, because for that to go through there and go to the Senate and that pass, it means that something must have happened. I think most people assume that because presumably a lot of governors have made similar mistakes, then what is happening? What happened in Kiambu should happen to, I don't know, whichever other country and all that. So it's like you prosecute all of us or leave all of us. But that's not the way the law works. I mean, each county assembly will initiate the process of impeachment as it deems right and fit. Yes. Away
from that, the Nairobi Metropolitan Services was established by the President back in March of this year and was mandated to operate for exactly 2 years. What happens after the 2 years? Do the services revert back to the county assembly or the county government of Nairobi?
Number one, the central government actually, because the powers of the county governments are delegated, they also have basically the jurisdiction to amend or even to dissolve the county government. And what will happen, I don't know. But we must say one thing. The reason why this was done is because Kenya, as a country, does not have a framework for delivery of government services and implementation of government programs and services. They don't have a general framework. So the only institutions in the country that have got that sort of expertise is the military. So I think it's very wise of the president to have created NMS and given it to somebody with a military ranking who is trained on delivery and implementation of government services to do that. I would suppose that all these institutions that are problematic, like KEMSA, NYS, and all that, should actually also get the same sort of prescription and treatment so that we can move this country forward. Right.
The Kenya Revenue Authority has been collecting revenue for Nairobi City County since Sonko was barred from accessing the office. So what happens now that we have an acting governor? Can he sign? What are the powers that he can wield? Can he sign off some of the duties that Sonko used to do, and how far can he go? Kenya Revenue Authority, will it revert back the tax collections and the revenue collections back to the acting governor?
I think the Constitution allows him to act. He will be sworn in as the acting governor. The acting, in the sense that his jurisdiction is limited to a particular period. I think it's 60 days or so. And during that period, is the substantive authority to sign on behalf of the county government of Nairobi. Yes.
And what can Nairobians expect for the 2 months that that Benson Mutura, the acting governor,
new brooms,
in office?
New brooms sweep clean, as the English say, and I think they can only expect there's going to be some improvement. In any case, now we have a clear, we have a person that is on the steering wheel, and then also the acrimony between NMS and the county government won't be there. Therefore, obviously, I think implementation services will improve, right? Because, you know, Sonko and NMS weren't in the best of terms. Yeah, exactly. So this guy, the new the Honorable Mutura, when he's coming in, he comes with a goodwill to work from the national government to work closely with NMS. Yeah, and that's only to the benefit of
Indeed.
Nairobi.
Thank you so much. Let's see how this pans out in the next 2 months before Nairobians can elect a new governor. Thank you so much, Tom Ojanga, for making time, and always a pleasure.
Thank you.